Major Mohammad Ali Shah also joins us on the broadcast to talk more about this. Ali, you have been following this war. You have been following the day-to-day advancements that are being made when it comes to this conflict. At this point in time, well, Israel, it can be said very easily, has upped the ante. It's gone up a notch when it comes to wiping out Hamas. That's what Netanyahu also promised. What is your assessment of how things stand when you compare the aggression as well as the humanitarian crisis that is existing in Gaza at this point in time?
That's a very, very good question, Vineet. Yes, most certainly, as there's been a lot of information warfare from both sides coming in, but here, this time I totally agree. I'm 100% what the Israeli Defense Forces said, that Hamas has that fuel which is required at the moment. See, I would put it this way, that Hamas is actually the actual enemy of Palestine over here. I would say they think they are fighting a war for a cause, but no, I mean, they should first and foremost straight away release the hostages. Because if they think like by keeping them captive, there's going to be a ceasefire and the Israelis are going to release them, they are mistaken. Now, secondly, this came at a very, very crucial time when Saudi Arabia and Israel were negotiating. This has been said by Prince Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia. In fact, he has said at a crucial time this attack happened, and that spoiled the entire thing. In fact, this was following the 2013 Egyptian coup, in which the military general Abdul Fattah el-Sisi deposited President Mohammed Morsi. I mean, imagine a complication like this is happening after all this. So most certainly, I would say it's Hamas is doing, and Hamas has to realize one thing. They have to be condemned from all quarters. Otherwise, they will feel further encouraged. So I think even the nearby countries of Gaza, the Muslim countries who are supporting Palestine, I think it is not enough by just saying, I stand with Palestine, I support Palestine. And it is not enough, again, by saying, I stand with Israel. You know, by this social media warfare, by putting DPs and flags of different countries will not lead anywhere. Hamas has to release the hostages first and foremost. That's prime most importance. And pressure has to be built upon them to release them. Just last time, Vineet, I was in conversation with a person who has roots from Manipur, who has now taken Israeli nationality, and he was telling about how they are about close to 300 Manipuri fighters from the martial race who are there with the Israeli army, who are deployed in the war, and the first battle casualty of the Manipur tribe, which is there, has also taken place. So this kind of a thing. Now, one more thing you have to keep in mind: the Jews were actually, and they were prosecuted very, very badly in Germany. So every single Jewish life is very important. They take it very, very seriously.
Right. Major Mohammad Ali Shah, defense expert and one of the foremost voices when it comes to international affairs, is with us on the program as well. Ali, well, we've already discussed this, that Israel has, taken this pledge of wiping out Hamas. But the point that I'm trying to make here is, Ali, that, most of the top Hamas leadership does not even live in Gaza or West Bank. They live in Qatar, they live in Iran, and they live in other Arab countries. So even if you are going to get rid of these foot soldiers, there are going to be plenty more that are going to crop up in the future. How is Israel going to, in fact, account for that?
Very good question by you, Vineet. Very, very good question. See, by killing one Osama bin Laden, did we end up the entire terrorism? Unfortunately, no. So you kill one, 10 heads will be born, unfortunately. So the ideology, be it anywhere, be it the Lashkar-e-Toiba, be it the Jaish-e-Mohammed, be it the ISIS, be it, in fact, there's now Taliban, the government of terrorists which has taken over Afghanistan. So the very fact is, by killing one, 10 heads will be born, unfortunately. So, and how do we kill the ideology? Now here, it is not just a question of terrorism itself. You have to understand one more thing, it is about politics also. Now the countries which are supporting Hamas, which are supporting the Muslim countries, the Arab world, some of them, it is not that उनको कोई फर्क पड़ता है, उनको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. If that is the case, let me put something very, very logical in perspective. When Israel gave a 24-hour ultimatum to Gaza that you got to vacate and empty, see, it's common sense, it's but practical that within 24 hours, it's almost very difficult, it's impossible to vacate and leave with your family. Everyone knows that. Now, the very fact is, why did the entire neighborhood of Gaza, the entire Muslim countries, the entire Arab world close their gates? They close their borders straight away. In fact, Rishi Sunak had to speak, in fact, to Egypt to saying that, okay, let's provide some humanitarian aid over there on humanitarian grounds. Let's do something about it. What the Arab world, isn't that hypocrisy? You are saying that you support Palestine. On the other hand, if you genuinely support Palestine, then you got to arrange for their rehabilitation. You got to accommodate them. You got to do something on ground because actions speak louder than words. Now, the foot soldiers who are there, who have taken people captive, even if you trade them off to rubble, they are all in other nations like Qatar and Doha and other places. They are residing elsewhere. How will they be brought to the book?
Right.
How will that, not coming to your question? That's a very, very pertinent and a very, very important question. We have to all understand. See, the Hamas chief had taken out a video immediately after sometime later after the 7th of October incident took place. He said, I would urge all the Muslim nations to unite in the world, to unite. And I would urge people, don't get brainwashed by this. Don't get brainwashed by this hogwash thing. It's all hogwash because सबको अपना अपना उल्लू सीधा करना है. They all have their own agendas. They all have their own ways of getting things done. Don't fall prey for their politics.
Right. Given any kind of a formal training which would fall under the Geneva Convention or the protocols of war, they were appointed terrorists who were charged with kidnapping, murder in the name of religion, and this is the reason why this disorganized outfit of Hamas will soon see its departure.
Well, Vineet, yes. See, the Hamas is 100% a banned terrorist organization. They've been declared terrorists by the UN, by the US, Israel. They are totally. And the act that they did on 7th October was totally condemnable. I mean, in fact, everyone should stand up against the atrocity that they did. See, this has been a very, very old story, a very, very old war, a very, very old friction between of Israel and Palestine. I remember as a small child. Since then, it's been going on. Now, if Hamas thinks that is the way, they're wrong. That is not the way. Secondly, where humanity suffers, where you attack women, children, elderly, helpless civilians, it is really, really wrong. Now, one more thing I would like to, one point of observation over here, Vineet. This video released by Israel, when a war happens, whenever there's a lot of information warfare from both sides. There's a lot of propaganda from both sides. I'm not saying that this could be, this is. I was saying, if at all this video is credible and if it were to be believed, then yes, it is something really, really dastardly. It's something which one has to stand together and condemn. Hamas needs to be condemned in any case. Now, because in this video we couldn't see the face of the speaker, who the Israeli military forces, defense forces, claim as a Hamas terrorist, and if it were to be believed, if it were to be credible, then it has to be most people indeed shocking, alarming, and for some people it would be beyond shock as well, because now anything could be expected from Hamas, and this is totally wrong. What is wrong needs to be called out by the international community, by the world, be it the Islamic countries, be it the Arab countries, everyone. What is wrong is wrong. It's as simple as that. So the very fact is,
right. Ali, stay with us. Some more breaking news coming in at this point in time. Well, the Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi has met with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in Tehran at this point in time. Ali, this is obvious that the situation that exists in Israel and Palestine at this point in time is, or rather, speaking the interest of all leaders and all countries on either side of the aisle. But Iran and the support of Russia could be sort of fomenting trouble because the Americans are going to be closely watching this.
Yes, Vineet, this is a very simple logic of dushman ka dushman dost. It's very simple as that. So because America has stood by Israel, and Joe Biden was to go to Jordan, was to go to Amman, in fact, and he was to address I would say a peace meeting, I would call it that way. But then ultimately he went to Tel Aviv, he went to Israel, and he even gave them a clean sheet that the rocket which fell on the hospital, the bombing of the hospital was not done by Israel. It was perhaps by an Islamic jihadist rocket which could have misfired. And then Israel also released an audio tape where they said that it was a misfire from the Hamas side because they used local equipment and it was from a cemetery behind the hospital. Now, this kind of thing went on. Now, the very fact is, ultimately, one should not put fuel to the fire and one has to douse the fire. The role of Russia, the role of China, the role of other countries, they step in because America has stood by Israel. So now other nations which are not like Iran and America are not in good terms, for example. So and China and America are not in good terms. Russia and America are not in good terms. All the other nations which are not in good terms are also
Right.
going
Ali,
to be...
stay with us. Some news from Pakistan also trickling in at this point in time. Well, the sentence of Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz PMLN Supremo Nawaz Sharif in the Al-Azizia reference has been suspended by the interim Punjab cabinet at this point in time. Mohammad Ali Shah is with us on the broadcast. Ali, it seems that the army in Pakistan has decided who the next prime minister is obviously going to be, because Pakistan is not only in a turmoil. The state of affairs is so bad that people can't wait to leave the country of Pakistan because basic necessities like food and electricity and their prices have crashed through the roof.
You are 100% right over there, Avneet. In 1983, where Nawaz Sharif was the finance minister of the Punjab province of Pakistan, who had got him into power? It was General Ziaul Haq. In fact, the Pakistani military got him into power. Later on, the Pakistani military only drove him out completely. And in the year 2019, Nawaz Sharif, Shahbaz Sharif's elder brother, he had gone to London for a treatment for some time, but then he did not return from thereafter. Thereafter, there was a lot of speculation after Shahbaz Sharif came to power, whether he would get back his brother or not, what was going to happen. When there was famine in Pakistan, when there was drought, I would call it drought and famine. I'll use these terms because the IMF was not giving any loans. They were tough on them and they were in grey list of FATF. They were going through a tough patch. At that time, people were dying. People were fighting for a single loaf of bread. That time, we had seen a video clip which had got viral of Nawaz Sharif at 10 Downing Street in London, coming out of a Rolls-Royce way car and walking straight into Louis Vuitton store, where they have the most expensive bags in the world. So we saw that was the state. It is like ridiculous and shameless. One should feel rather embarrassed. Now,